So I was going through some things I had written before, and I was looking over some goals, and I found some goals I'd written down for 2019. And one of the things I had on there was how I can not be so tired and how I can get motivated. And that was a really tough season for me. I remember literally asking my dad, who seemed to have a lot more energy than I did, if this was just normal, if I was if it was an age thing, was I going to be tired the rest of my life? Is this how it is? Does it get any better? Because I wasn't enjoying life very much because I felt just awful. And I thought, man, if this is what life is, I just don't see how I'm going to be, living another 40, 50 years in the state that I'm in. I never really found any answers, and I asked other people too, and I think that maybe they just didn't really understand where I was coming from, but I just didn't really realize it at the time what was going on, and I want to share with you today. But that's why I wasn't able to give myself answers either. So a lot of you guys know that we have 8 kids, but getting there was not an easy task. I mean, I didn't just have like 8 kids and everything wasn't all like, fun getting to where we are, right? There was challenges, and if I'm being honest, I've had at least as many losses as I have live births, and a couple of those included emergency services where I nearly died. So, but one of those in particular, I had to have an emergency surgery to remove an ectopic that I had. So I actually started bleeding on my birthday, and I went ahead and took a pregnancy test, and the test came back positive. So I knew I was having a miscarriage, and since I already had some before, I just figured, whatever, I'll just let it run its course. And this one was different, just like the rest of them have all been different. I've had different things go on with all of them, so it wasn't exactly out of the ordinary for this one to be different as well. So I would have waves of where I felt pain, and then waves where I felt good. And so I let this go on. The pain would get more intense, but I let this go on for 6 weeks or so. One day I was feeling okay, and so I loaded up. I had 6 kids at the time, so I loaded them all up, and I said, hey, I'm feeling okay this morning, let's go take a trip to Costco. And it turned out that wasn't really such a good idea, because I ended up needing help while I was there, and Costco ended up calling an ambulance for me, and they took care of my 6 children while I was unable to do anything lying on the floor in the bathroom. They took them, and they gave them milkshakes, and they got them something to eat, and they entertained them, and they made sure that they were all safe, which was great. By the time I got to the hospital, I started feeling a little bit better, and they did all their tests and stuff and found out that my fallopian tube was already past the point of no return, and when they got me in there for surgery, I was already bleeding internally, and so it was a really good thing that I got in there. But I had no energy, and I felt pretty sick, like, all the time. But because I loved kids and I wanted to have a large family, and we weren't really doing anything to prevent having children, I inquired about whether or not it was a good idea to have kids at the doctor. And so I asked my doctor if I could have kids, or when I could start having kids again, if I needed like a lot of recovery time. And she said that your uterus doesn't forget. If you wanted to get pregnant a week after surgery, you'd be fine. And so I didn't prevent anything, and it was some of the worst advice I have ever received. And so I went from feeling sick all the time and not fully recovered to being pregnant right away. And I spent that entire pregnancy being sick, and I spent a lot of time on my bed. I spent a lot of time on the couch. After the baby was born, I never ended up getting my energy back. I felt like junk all the time. If I had someone over, or I planned an event, it took every ounce of energy I had just to be present anywhere, and I had to have so much more downtime just to do anything. And a lot of people didn't know that I was going through this, and I didn't, of course, see a lot of people at the time because, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so it was easy for me to kind of just be at home and have people not know about it. So I never got better, and then I spent just a long time not feeling well after the baby was born, and so it was about probably 2 years of it and then I ended up getting pregnant again. And at that point, I was trying to not really get pregnant so much because I was already so sick. I had this fear that I would just get sicker. And so I was nervous and kind of upset when I got pregnant. But it was the pregnancy that actually ended up healing me. So I spent about 2.5 years being really sick, and then I started getting better. And I didn't know this at the time, but it was hormones that was keeping me down. So I spent 2.5 years feeling like trash, and my entire family had to carry the weight of this because I just didn't know. And nobody had any answers for me. And I was beginning to think that this was a normal part of life, and I was just depressed all the time. And I'm not saying tired like I was just tired. I'm saying I was fatigued. Like, I was sick. I didn't feel good. My kids had to, when my husband was gone at work, my kids had to man the house, and they helped me like a ton for like 2.5 years. And it was like a really hard season for all of us. But the reason I wanted to talk today about women being lazy and tired and not being motivated is because when you're going through stuff like this, it's hard. It can be extremely depressing. But I have connected with a lot of women that have been in similar situations as me. And so I just want to get on here and encourage you today, because your season for the things that you want to do, it might not be now, right? But that doesn't mean that it's not in the future, right? So it's okay that you may have stuff going on and that you just feel like junk. Like, that's okay. And I don't want you to get down on yourself, because I don't actually know too many people that are lazy. When you get into people's lives and you get down to what's really going on, oftentimes they're not being lazy. Oftentimes it's not being unmotivated. A lot of times it's just the season they're in. A lot of times it's like they've got too much going on. Maybe there's some depression going on, which also can be caused by hormones. But a lot of times, especially with women, it's hormones. And I just want to encourage you, like, if you're feeling like you're kind of stuck in a season where you feel like you're unmotivated and you're wondering if you're lazy, or you wonder, like, am I ever going to feel well? I mean, have you written down goals like I have? Have you asked people questions like I have? Like, is this life? Is this really how we're going to feel the rest of our time? Well, the answer is no, it's not. You're not going to feel like this forever. And I know that that's hard to believe, because the season seems long and you don't know when you're going to get out of it. But I promise you, it does get better. I promise you that your season is going to come. It's going to happen. It may not be now, and yes, it could be long, but it's going to happen. And no, this is not what the rest of life looks like. And so I want to answer that for you at least, but also I want you to have grace with yourself, because you are just in a season where you just can't right now. So I don't want you to be hard on yourself for not being able to, right? But even, now that you know this, keep looking forward to the future. Keep, whatever you have in you that you want to do someday, hold on to that. Hold on to that dream, or hold on to the thing that it is that you're really passionate about, because I promise you it's going to happen. It's just not now. And you've got to be really careful and gentle with yourself, because you just may not be in the season to where you're able to do it. So anyway, I just want to encourage you guys, and maybe get your hormones checked. If you're feeling like you're having a hard time, get your hormones checked. See if that's maybe an issue that you can work out. But also, I guess another thing to touch base on is just like, if you're a mom and you've got like kids, you're a stay-at-home mom. Even if you're not a stay-at-home mom, you're a working mom, and you come home and you got kids. It's a lot of work, and it's not always physical, but it's mental too. So, I mean, it's just a hard season, so give yourself some time, give yourself some grace, and just, go through life the best you can. And that's really good enough. It's good enough. So anyway, I promise you it gets better. God bless you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.